She in Chicago. That's straight up good times, scratching and surviving. Good times. Easy credit ripoffs. Good
Hanging
times.
in a child line.
Hanging in a child line. I ain't gonna say she's that bad off, but
Hey, what's up? It's Rashad Antonio. We are the MCU Collective back at it again with Disney Plus. Ironheart, MCU's newest entry. Really should have been out a long time ago. But
last,
bruh, like
last fall or something like that.
easy. It could have
Yeah.
been out top of 24.
All
All
right.
spoilers, man. I gotta talk about a thing and talk about a thing. We got 3 episodes, and they were like 45, 50-minute episodes,
Yo,
surprisingly.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
surprised about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
surprised. I mean, because we see how some of the oh yeah. And just I want to preface this whole conversation with this show was made how Disney used to make stuff on Disney Plus.
Hmm.
So what you essentially have is a movie cut up into 6 episodes.
Wasn't this supposed to be a movie?
Never supposed to be a movie, always supposed to be a series. But this was under the helm when when
You know what I'm thinking about?
what's that?
I'm thinking about Armor Wars. I don't even think we're gonna get Armor
Almost was
Wars.
supposed to be a series. Then was supposed to be a movie, and is
Uh,
now off
oh,
the
the
docket.
record. Yeah, docket completely.
Out
Yeah.
the paint. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Justice for Don Cheadle. Anyway, so back if you remember watching uh Falcon and the Winter Soldier
Mm-hmm.
or OG Loki or even the WandaVision,
Vision.
all of those were written more or less like movies that got broken up and had like pieces that were interconnecting at like certain points. But
Mm-hmm.
those were made like how they made movies.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil was actually sat down and written like a real show,
Yeah.
even though they had to rework some stuff halfway through
Mm-hmm.
because they fired the old creatives. Got that's in Benson and Moorhead, and
Mm-hmm.
they finished it up, and they'll be doing season 2, which is actually recording right now, and that'll be here next year, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to preface a lot of my conversation with some of the structurally like why this is happening, how it's happening, is because that's that. That being said, we hadn't talked about this at all. As always, what are your initial impressions?
I want to start off by giving this disclaimer. F all of y'all out there trying your best to tank and ruin this movie. I would stick my middle finger up right now, but I'm not. I'm trying to keep it somewhat PG-13 a little bit right here. But F
Thanks.
every last one of y'all who out here, this is so woke, this and that. Hey, who asked for this? People were asking for Ironheart. People were asking for Riri Williams. Get out. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing in my face. Then also F all of y'all that have a problem with people who are quote unquote different in quote unquote normal society. You know what I mean? And the fact that you have a problem with people who are not even the main character, they're a side character at best, that
Yeah.
you have problems with these people. For you weirdos out there, surprise, surprise, there are non-binary people in this world. Surprise, surprise, there are gay people in this world. Surprise, surprise, there are trans people in this world. Just because you don't agree with it, you don't like it, doesn't mean they're not in this world. So of course it makes sense to have, people of that ilk or people like that in societal type shows such as Ironheart. I mean, to
Yeah.
get over it. I have made it my purpose not to even indulge into the negativity from that's coming from certain people in this. I'm proud of myself for that, and I'm that. So I just leave you with a um to to quote the great Sean Corey Carter, aka Jay Z. If all the rest of y'all throwing shots at Riri, you get half a bar. F y'all. F y'all for real, and that's exactly how it is, and that's the last thing I'm gonna say about it, unless somebody gets completely out of pocket for real. But that's the last thing I'm gonna say about it because you can obviously tell who has and who have not seen this show.
Tony. And that's what and I think that's like how I feel about a lot of it because
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of false flags, a lot of bad faith actors when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to this type of stuff. And and even okay, so there gets this conversation where people be like, oh, just because it's black or whatever, that means you're not gonna be able to judge it on its merits because
Mm-hmm.
you feel like, since we are obviously black, that we got to defend it. And I'm like, not necessarily. There are some black things that I hate immensely,
And,
and I won't be talking about them today.
and I will even tell you about this show. There are some things that I kind of don't like about the show,
And
but
that's what I'm like. I
yeah.
can be, we can be, excuse me, objective,
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard to be objective when people are trying to tear down something and then who gonna defend like who gonna defend black women? If black men don't defend black women, what we look like? Like we look really lame coming up here and
Mm-hmm.
trying to espouse these values and this sense of pride in our people, and we don't even do that at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's whack. I'll live in a house with four women, so there's no
Right.
way I could actually just do that
And then,
honestly.
and at one
So
point, I grew up in the house with four, with four women in the
yeah, so
household
like
of
that's
four.
also so like people don't yeah, y'all gotta understand that, man. It's yeah, so enough of that. And if you've
Okay.
been here with us long enough, then you already know like
Yeah,
how we get
y'all know
down with
what
this
time
type of
it is.
stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we definitely had a lot of like conceptions when it came to like even Falcon Winter Soldier series when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff about that we did and didn't like,
Mm-hmm.
or even Black Panther 2. There's the thing
Mm-hmm.
we love the movies, but there's some things like I don't know about this, so like
Mm-hmm.
we can be objective.
Yeah.
I mean subjective. Yeah, we can be objective. So that
Okay.
being said,
That being said, my thoughts on this show is I for the most part like the show. I see the direction they're trying to go with it, and I for the most part like it. It's some things that give off what's the best way I can explain it? It is some it seems as if they're trying to gear this show somewhat to younger folk, which gives me kind of Miss Marvel vibes off of that.
yeah,
you
definitely,
know, because Miss
definitely.
Marvel definitely was geared towards younger people. I'm not quite understanding why they're trying to cater this, or I could say cater this, but kind of gear this towards younger people, considering I could understand Miss Marvel because she was what, like 15, 16 years old,
Yeah.
and she's a high school. Riri Williams, yeah, she's a very diminutive. Dominique Thorne is a very diminutive woman, but let's get something straight. She is a woman. She's been in MIT now since she was 15, and she's like what, 20? She got to be about 22, 20, you know what I'm saying?
Something
She's
like that.
grown. And she even told that little boy that helped her drag her suit, you know, that dragged her suit, like, yo, I'm a grown. She said, hey, she says, Miss Riri Williams or whatever. And she's like, because I'm a grown woman, so she kind of let him know, like, hey, you might be the same height as me a little bit, whatever, but don't get it twisted, young man. I'm a grown woman. But other than that, I like some things. Like I said, some things I really like about this. I like that I like it, but I wish they do it more. I don't know if they are because I don't think they have enough time to do it because it's only 6 episodes to touch on real life PTSD and emotional trauma on a family scale that she's dealing with like her with what I'm saying, the loss of her stepfather, the loss of her, what I'm saying, the loss of her best friend, also, dealing with it with her mom, and stuff like that. Because she says like it's what, been 5 years since she's lost both of them, and she's still hurting inside. I know that feeling. I lost my mom 3 years ago, and I still feel that pain, and I sometimes still lash out and have moments, you know what I'm saying, for myself. So I can get that. But I know it's like I don't think they really want to dwell on that too much. Like I said, because it's only 6 episodes. If this is a 10 episode season, but we know MCU shows ain't really 10 episodes like that for real. I think they could. I wish they could dwell on it, but they're not. And also too, just being a black being a black person, man. Just she in Chicago. That's straight up good times, scratching and surviving. Good times. Easy credit ripoffs. Good
Hanging
times.
in a child line.
Hanging in a child line. I ain't gonna say she's that bad off, but she's like, yo, I'm trying to get this money to what I'm saying, fulfill my dreams. I want to make a change. She wants to make a change. I think her biggest, for me, Riri's biggest strength and biggest weakness is her will.
Yeah, and to be honest, we have like the same views on the show because when I initially finished it, I was like kind of thinking about it. I was like, yo,
Mhm.
this is essentially Miss Marvel.
Oh, for
But
real?
yeah, that's how I felt about it when I
Oh,
finished it. I was
okay.
like, this is Miss Marvel. Like, look, we got a female protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
We have a potential love interest. We have
Okay.
someone who has a family unit and
Mm-hmm.
some extended family that are kind of like in her orbit. We also have a villain that ends up they have to like come together and work together with the villain.
Mm-hmm.
They did that too, and also they're also driven by their like you said like their will. Um, um, Miss Marvel's will was like I want to be a hero. I want to make a difference,
Mm-hmm.
and Riri's will is essentially just like Ryan Coogler said is her ambition. She
She wants to be
says,
great.
I want to be, she said, no, I know I'm better than all these white dudes. I
Yeah.
know I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because I'm doing this with essentially a box of scraps. And a lot of people who haven't read the original Ironheart run by Brian Michael Bendis, they're not understanding the totality of the character. And for me, because like I don't read a lot of comic books, but I did read this one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where like the people who do read comics get very sanctimonious because they have like a more in-depth understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
So if they don't touch on all these beats, like I get it, but I want you to they try to explain this, whether it be in the movie in Black Panther 2 or here, which she did in the first episode. The first episode was just a huge exposition dump.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to set the stage. So like again, like you said, I can see what they're trying to do. Like I understand that. So
Mm-hmm.
as they're explaining her flying back home, suit falling apart because she got expelled from school from, what I'm saying, trying to get that money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even though she was fully researched, she didn't care. Like, yo, I'm gonna do this hook or crook. And unfortunately, she was more crook than hook.
Mm-hmm.
And we see after that her trying to generate funds and being able to piece this thing together essentially out of nothing. Hey, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to a junkyard to find parts. I'm scraping up
Mm-hmm.
money. Me and my old homeboy, who is basically the sister of my best friend who
The
passed
brother.
away.
The brother.
So yeah, I'm sorry, the
Uh-huh.
brother
Mm-hmm.
and there's like this whole like that's the part that pissed me off most about some of the reaction. Y'all clearly don't understand that they already set her up to be a genius. She was the person who made the thing that can find vibranium.
Mm-hmm.
Shuri, another smart black woman, was like, "Who did this?"
Mm-hmm.
Okoye says, "This wasn't a professor
Right.
at MIT at this little
Mm-hmm.
crappy American college. Who did this?"
The
So when they
equivalent, what she said, the equivalent of what, our middle school or something like that, she
Tony,
said.
I went back and watched Wakanda Forever. So like
Uh-huh.
they were really lauding her in regards to just how smart she was. She had to
Mm-hmm.
be there to help her. recreate the heart-shaped herb and all that. Like they was on, she was making the
Yeah.
suit and all that, and they were brainstorming and talking. So like the her being smart like should not be like the tipping point.
Right.
And the fact that she was doing this with a shoestring budget when she made her first suit
Mm-hmm.
should let you know, like, yeah, like I'm really doing this. I've been doing this piece by piece, bit by bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because her whole reasoning is, yeah, like I can do something else, but like if I make a suit and I can have this application for like EMTs or firefighters or whatever, then
Mm-hmm.
I can make money because unfortunately, okay, here's the real thing about this, Tony. The issue that people are not understanding is their alliance and allegiance to capitalism. They
Yes.
don't understand why this person will be doing these quote unquote bad things, even though, as constituted in the show, her crew are basically Robin Hood from the
Yeah.
Prince of Thieves because they're
Yeah.
stealing from the rich and giving to themselves, but still, they're not like these affluent people stealing from other affluent people. Like
Yeah.
there's a whole Robin Hood type theme going on.
Yeah.
And Riri is trying her best to deal with capitalism and how it's constructed in our real world and not being able to have the finances and everything to make the connections that she had. Her only connection was MIT.
Yeah.
And okay, and Tony. And being in MIT was not enough.
Right.
Like why like I don't understand people can't see that. Like she really went to one of the best colleges in America, but
Mm-hmm.
because her financial situation did not lend her to do these outside of the field things,
Mm-hmm.
she has like, yo, I gotta acquire more funds. Like even after Wakanda Forever, her original suit gone.
Yeah. The
The suit she
Wakandas
made
got
in
that.
Rapana said, "Hey, you can't have this, big dog.
Mm-hmm.
This is not for you." So
Mm-hmm.
now I got to start from scratch. The
Mm-hmm.
funding that she got from them wasn't enough to make the suit. So she was hustling to make the suits on her
Mm-hmm.
own using their stuff. That's even though they had like the MIT AI, which was basically like Clippy from Microsoft.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like that whole thing, even though they had control of it, she still it's almost like a software hardware thing where the intellectual property of the software or the AI belonged to MIT, but the hardware
Was
belonged
hers.
to her. Hence why she had to make her own AI. So
Yeah.
like there's a lot of I could go on and on about this,
Uh-huh.
but there's like a lot of things that I think people are just blind to or people
Yeah.
just don't want to see and really recognize when it comes to like socioeconomic disparities or
Mm-hmm.
just cultural mores and differences when it comes to black people in general and just how
Yeah.
we've been treated
If
in
you
in
it's
America.
simple. If you don't understand the black diaspora, just say you don't understand the black diaspora
Bruh, like
without having to tear it down and want to use what is now a trigger word for black people. Oh, this is woke. Shut the F up, yo, forever. It's nothing to do with it. You just don't understand the black diaspora. What I want to say is this though, Rashad, real quick. I'm just you sitting here talking about this and thinking, and this just made me think about something. As much as I love the Wakandans, I do. Yo, that's they did do kind of a trash thing because they took away the suit. I get it, cool or whatever. But you know what they didn't do that Tony Starks would have done? They didn't set the girl up to succeed even more. Think about it. Remember in Iron Man, what three? Iron Man 3.
yeah.
Am I right? Iron
Yeah,
Man
yeah, yeah,
3,
yeah, yeah. You're right.
where Tony, crash landed, and I forgot what's in that little boy, and he actually showed up again at the funeral at Endgame or whatever, because I he helped like Tony get his suit charged up a little bit and everything, and he saw the workshop that kid had, and what did Tony do, Rashard? Tony saw that yo, this kid has some potential. He cultivated that potential. Remember, the kid got back. He came home one day and went into the garage and workshop, and he had all this good old tech stuff that he could build his, build things and everything like that. And you saw the kids smiling and it was like, I'm about to have some fun. Yo, Shuri and the Wakandas, they could have hooked the girl up, man. She helped save their nation. They could have like hooked her up with a nice little workshop
Or care
situation, not
package,
a
you know what I'm
care
saying?
package,
Per
not give her
diem, a
right, not give
stipend.
not even give her access to Wakandan, all Wakandan tech, but gave her a nice little lab or something. You know what I'm saying to
Keep
do this.
put on the
To
payroll, you know what I'm
put
saying?
you know what I'm
Something,
saying?
man.
For everything she did, she ain't getting. She got her dad car and ended up having to sell their dad car. Dad car. Oh my god! So if y'all saw Wakanda Forever, when they went to her workshop, original the shop that we see in Ironheart right here, if I'm not mistaken, that same workshop, maybe not.
Now
She
that
has
was
her
the MIT workshop.
right, my MIT workshop, yeah. And you see, she's like, her whole thing is they're trying to put that Barracuda back together because that was her dad car and everything. And at the end of Wakanda Forever, Shuri has the car,
Oh, my bad. You're
saying,
right. You're right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we went and we got all the pieces and parts for the car. This is your dad's car. They were like, oh man, she said, yeah, we're gonna have it shipped back home for you and every. I mean, cool. That's cool to do that. But all of that just for her, you saw in this show right here.
So
I
I
think
have
the
to
first
sell it.
episode to be like, I had to sell it to get money to to get parts to do what I need to do to be great
Yeah,
and to change the world, man. Sure, they could have hooked that girl up with a nice little workshop or something like that. But
that's
hey,
funny.
that's just a little thought I just thought of sitting here thinking about that, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, but back to Riri. So like I said, her ambition and her will to me is her greatest weakness and her greatest strength because she has the will to be great. She wants to be great. She wants to do everything, but also it's the fact that she's almost willing to do anything except kill. That's the one thing about it because when the hood and little crew got her, she was like, look here. What's the first thing she said, Rashad? I don't want to hurt people.
Yeah,
I don't want to
definitely.
hurt. I don't want to hurt people. And it was like, hey man, don't worry about it. You're
We
not
ain't
gonna
about
hurt.
that.
We ain't about that. We kind of find out, the crew not, except for the twins that like to rumble. You know what I mean? And old Mr. Knife Blade dude, the cousin, they about that, but the rest of them are like, hey, well, we just, you got Slug, who's just an A1 hacker, and then of course, Joker, who's like, she's just a pyromaniac, just love to blow things up and stuff
She
like
is
that.
funny.
Yeah, she is. She's
You know what she
hilarious.
remind me of?
Who's
She
that?
reminds me of the All That Digital, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
You know the lady with like Caesar on the show that be joking all the time with a real funny voice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
think of her name, but the
Yeah,
comedian, yeah, she remind me
yeah,
of her.
yeah,
The
yeah.
like you heard the whole crew was real. They're like, we just trying to get some money, be out. And the of course we already know the hood is like just being overtaken by by the
Okay,
hood.
so here is my, I guess, part of my issue with the show. I'm wondering, and like I said, I'm only saying this right now because it's early on. I'm waiting for the show to. How are they going to develop this mysticism versus technology, what I'm saying, angle? That's my that's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
one
yeah,
that's my
yeah,
one, like,
yeah.
I'm not even gonna say red flag, my yellow flag right now. Like, how are we going to mix this together? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, is Doctor Strange gonna eventually pop up? Say, pop up in this or something like that. There are rumors. This is spoilers all that we may see Sasha Baron Cohen as Mephisto finally pop up in the MC, in the MCU, and you see that this cloak, this hood is possessing old boy for this show, man. So I'm just really, I think that's the one thing I'm like, where are we going? with this because if because I'm not because was the Hood one of her main antagonists in that comic run? I can't remember. Right, right. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm getting. Like, that's one thing I'm kind of like,
Yeah, it's
I
really
don't,
weird. Like there is some sort of tangential relationship with like Doctor Doom because there's one series, like one couple of episodes, I'm sorry, comics where she had to go to Latveria and
okay,
for some stuff, and like his number one girl basically met her there. Is a whole thing.
yeah,
So
because I
like
know,
so like
because
the whole magic technology aspect is there. Like to me, like the bigger question is this going to tie into how we kind of handle Doctor Doom?
okay,
You feel what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because
right,
that
because
this
we
could
know
be
he
it.
that mofo deals in the mystic,
Yeah,
in the
he's gonna be
mysticism and
mystical and technical. So
technical right there. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm curious about that. So like if they
mm-hmm,
can like kind of backdoor or leave it, just plant those seeds in our minds, like yo, this
right,
is something that's going to be quickly approaching, next December. So yeah, like I'm really yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because by the end of episode three,
mm-hmm,
after I'm skipping around because like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the actual episodes are just like to me they're like just one big thing. So
mm-hmm,
when they go to the last dude's place off the off the river or whatever, the
mm-hmm,
lake, and they find him and they end up his cousin ends up getting killed. And
yeah,
he's talking to the Hood like, man, I am done with this.
uh-huh,
And the Hood is like, just like, nah, no, you're not done. Here's a vision of who killed your who killed Cuzzo. And you see
yeah,
like the outline of like, of an iron suit.
mm-hmm,
So if this thing is giving him the ability to teleport or be at least be invisible,
mm-hmm,
being able to give him um, portents of the past
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and also like super strength and all that good stuff. Like
uh-huh,
I really hope that they reveal what's the source or who's the source of said ability. Of course, in the
mm-hmm,
comics, the Hood had a whole deal with Dormammu.
mm-hmm,
This could easily backdoor Mephisto or not. Like I don't really want to invoke his name, but
right,
that they could easily do that. You know what I'm saying? I
right,
feel like they've been like breadcrumbing Mephisto ever since WandaVision, but I don't
yeah.
know if they have the balls to actually do it.
Because also too, like I said, dealing with the mysticism and science and stuff of it, that also kind of to me is a tie-in back with the first Thor. Because you think about it, when he was talking
Yes,
with
yes.
Jane Foster's like Asgard, she was like,
Good point.
where we're from, where I'm from in Asgard, science and mysticism is the same thing. It's just how you approach it. You know, it's just seriously, saying how you approach it as well. Let me ask you this, Rashad.
Okay.
How do you feel about it's ironic because when I watched this yesterday, I was kind of creeped out at first with the whole AI thing with the best friend, the deceased best friend coming along and she's becoming an AI. I think we're gonna probably find out how this happened. Because remember, she was like, I don't know, say how this happened. I'm gonna tell you why it's kind of netted because today at work we did a story about Serena Williams' husband who posted like an AI video of him and his mom that passed away, and like they was on a mountainside and it was like hugging the picture and you see that it comes to life. It's a video and it comes to life and stuff, and they were talking like this that, and they were also saying that this one of the reporters was saying like, yeah, they read somewhere where there is like a company that is willing to do AI for people that have gone on and passed on and create like a robot, like a look-alike robot, and have that person be there. And I was like, absolutely not. Like that's just, you know, like I said earlier, my mom passed away. As much as I would love to be able to hold my mom and see my mom, I couldn't do that. That's just weird. How do you feel about that in this show right here?
That is a great question because I was going to be leading to that. So
Mm-hmm.
when when that happened, of course, that also happens in the comics too, because
Okay.
her original AI is Tony. And
Yeah.
then
Right. I knew it was Tony
and then
Stark at
Tony
one
ends
point.
up, coming back to like yada,
Mhm.
comic stuff.
Yeah.
So she ends up needing a new AI and makes Natalie as the AI. The way it's done in the show is done inadvertently, or should I say subconsciously,
Hmm.
because she essentially hooked the nose up to her, and she was trying to match her own brain waves
Hmm.
to like replicate, what I'm saying, like, a more realistic type personable AI.
Hmm.
And what I'm thinking happening when she was asleep is she actually was like dreaming about Natalie, or just subconsciously it went to her, because when she woke up, of course, the AI wasn't just some generic AI. It was very much her best
Natalie.
friend.
Hmm.
And I think that the moral and ethics of AI was something that I just really wasn't expecting to come up. I should have known, but like the fact that like the way they did it, it
Hmm.
definitely raises a lot of questions about how AI is used and utilized, and the benefits, and also the potential misuse of it.
Hmm.
So, and this is the part where I said on threads, and matter of fact, I posted the video everywhere. I was like, I feel like and you said this earlier too. The aspect of the show they're not going to get into, but it will make it a lot better, is the family slash emotional aspects. Because when Riri's mom finds out about
Hmm.
Natalie, and the way that she's so openly and readily
Accepted.
accepted it, has wholehearted conversations with it, and was very like, oh my God, you look just like Natalie. And then Riri gets home and she's like, yo, I saw it. And then she says to her, can you make me want to Gary?
Hmm.
That part for me was like,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
So that whole aspect of, again, going back to what you said you guys reported today, how we can reconcile grief, or our inability to let go
Yes.
of people, and our wantingness to have what we had before, because
Hmm.
those are all real things.
Hmm.
Like, and Smart was like, I don't need to know, like, I don't want all that emotional family stuff. We need to get back to her being a superhero. I'm like, dog, all your favorite superheroes
Hmm.
have these emotional beats. If there's no emotional connection to a character,
Yeah.
then why the hell is we watching the show?
Yeah.
And this whole part of having her, and this is what I hope happens. If it doesn't happen, so be it. But I really hope that her and her mom can sit down and really actually grieve. So
Hmm.
think about it. You said this happened 5 years ago, right?
Hmm.
Riri went to MIT about
Hmm.
5 or so years ago.
Hmm.
So she's just been working.
Yeah.
She's never grieved. She got busy.
You know what?
Busy doesn't equal grieving. It's
She
just being busy.
she did what Tony Stark's did. Remember in Iron Man 3, because he didn't really fully like, he had the PTSD of going into the wormhole,
Thank you.
going into
Thank
that
you. Thank
wormhole,
you.
and then when he got, and like he didn't fully deal with, saying the fact that he basically was, all intents is almost dead. What did he do? He built like over what, 100 or something Iron Man suits or whatever. He wasn't getting no rest.
Cause think about it. In from from the first Avengers movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
To Iron Man, to Iron Man, to Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make a pseudo arm around the world that ends up
Mm-hmm.
making Ultron, that ends up
Mm-hmm.
making Vision.
Mm-hmm.
To Iron Man 3,
Mm-hmm.
when he just has all these random suits up to like Mark 50.
Yeah.
And then he has the what did he call it? The something protocol? I forgot
The
what it was
house
called.
the house party
House
protocol
Party
was
Protocol.
was to
Yeah, and
destroy
and
all
he
of them.
destroys
Yeah.
all the suits. But then by the end, but by the beginning of Infinity War, he
Mm-hmm.
has he has a nanotech suit.
Mm-hmm.
So he like when people make this mistake and say like, yo, like, of course, somebody really said this. Of course, we have to know about Tony and the people in his life. But this other girl, no, we don't even know about them. We need to make a superhero joint.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
because she's Rashad. Let's go ahead and say it because she's black. Let's just go ahead
Like
and
hurry up and like
let's say
just save the
yeah,
day, girl. Hurry up.
yeah.
Like we don't really need to know about your family
Uh-huh.
in this apartment building. Nobody cares about
Right.
that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the reason why you cared about all those OG characters. And even a lot of the characters that came in this current iteration. You know, so like you have to have characterization. And that characterization for me, if they can actually execute that, that'll make this show that'll be
Mm-hmm.
up there because that's going to be the linchpin of one, their relationship, and two, now we know what her because okay. Because people have been saying to me also that I don't like the character because the character is morally corrupt. Or like the people who matter of fact, somebody's telling me, somebody said the people who made the show are morally corrupt. I was
Jesus
like,
Christ.
what are you talking? Like that is crazy. And I wish this was because I first thought they were talking about the character. He's like, nah, that's just the character. I'm talking about who made it, who wrote the show. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't even go. I can't even have a conversation with.
Did Donald Trump make this show?
Nah,
Let me
nah, 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 nah,
let me
nah.
stop. Let me stop.
These black women that wrote this are morally corrupt because they made a morally ambiguous character or a
Yeah.
character that is dealing with their morality versus their ambition. And that is
Mm-hmm.
clearly the theme of the show.
Yes.
And even her crew, same thing. Her people at home, not so much because they understand where you been, what are you doing? You've been
Mm-hmm.
distant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need to talk. Her the love interest, giving her the
Yeah.
mixtape with
Yeah.
Nellie's voice on it. She turns it
Man.
off and says, "You know what I'm not gonna do? I ain't dealing with this today. I'm about to get busy doing some
I'm
work."
not gonna cry. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
not
I'm not
gonna.
gonna shed a tear. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
So all those like I don't understand. Like I do understand, but people, I'm not sure what they expect with this, and the expectations of the show that they wanted to actually convey to us,
mhm.
and even staying pretty faithful to the comic book character of
Mhm.
Riri, doing a pretty decent job. Even the character that she's been in Wakanda forever, because it's not
Mhm.
like she wasn't hustling folks.
Yeah.
First scene. Hey,
Person.
here you go. $800. Nah,
Nah.
yesterday's price
Today's
is not
price ain't
today's
today's
price.
price, nigga.
It's gonna be a ban.
Ban. Yeah.
So she been hustling since day one. So I don't
Yeah.
even know like where this confusion is talking about like why she trying to why is the girl from a single parent household from Chicago trying to get money? When
Yeah.
she's at MIT, where everybody around
Around
her
her.
is wealthy.
Mhm.
Come on, man. I've seen stories of people like, yeah, like I got to this illustrious institution on a scholarship or whatever. He said, I've seen pieces where like people taking plane trips over the weekend or like they in
Yeah.
class booking flights to so and so.
To
We going
Vegas and
to
shit like that.
Ibiza. Yeah, we going
Yeah.
out hang over the weekend, come back on Sunday night. So and they looking like I I ain't living like this.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna be on campus.
I'm gonna be on campus eating my ramen noodles,
Yes.
working out these problems right
hmm
here.
So yeah, so the again the economic disparities that this show is trying to tell you, not even
Mm-hmm.
as a trope, but as a reality, because there has not been one time where she says, "Oh my God, society
Yeah.
the man has got me down, and
Yeah.
I'm so poor." As that,
All's my life I has to fight. I've has to fight. Everybody I has to fight. But look at me now. Or whatever. Yeah. This show is
Every-
way deeper than that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like,
One thing that we haven't talked about, I do want to give a shout out to.
okay.
I love bringing back in. the Obadiah Stane aspect of this the with the son Ezekiel. And I love what he said himself when he was like, I don't want to be my father. And this gives him a chance to not necessarily clear his father name, but clear his family name because of saying the trash person his father was, Uncle Obadiah was, to be able to clear that name, and he can be a partner for for Riri, because guess what? The iron suit always comes. It's a full circle thing with the iron. With the iron suit or whatever. He saw that iron suit and was like,
Oh my
"Oh
God.
my God,
Why the iron suit?
yeah."
Question. I'm glad you brought up Obadiah's baby boy
Uh
because
huh.
do you think he's gonna break bad?
You mean become like your boy Heisenberg, or do you mean or you mean become the villain? Maybe he is the main villain of this show.
Or a future villain? Or just somebody out, in the MCU who
It's
could
different. I'm gonna tell you why. I can see how it happens because when we first see him, he's a goof or whatever, allowing the neighbors' dogs to ish on his lawn. He's getting no respect.
I'm not the first
I
dog that
saw
shit on
to
your
show them
lawn.
all that beats ho. You've been shout out to OD.
Oh,
Oh,
be
stinking
ODB. I'm sorry.
ODB was wild for that thing, yo. Um, I can see how because he's starting not to say feel himself, but he's starting to stand up for himself. And you can see that's all because of Riri. Riri was like, boy, stand up for yourself and everything. She says, not against me. Saying this is just a noble cause. But people just messing with you.
Because
Stand up for yourself.
yeah, because by the end of episode 3, like we see Riri have another panic attack because she was slipping. The whole
Uh-huh.
device and the skin graft thing was like she left that in the lab.
Yeah.
So she's hopefully thinking like that won't be tied
Yeah. Back to
back
Ezekiel.
to Ezekiel, which I don't really see how.
I don't
But
yeah. I'm
you
gonna say
know,
this. I can see how I hope it doesn't happen.
yeah, me
I
too.
hope I hope he kind of becomes her if this was Batman, he becomes her Lucius Fox. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that would be dope.
The kind of
That
like
would be dope.
you know what I'm saying? Like she don't really need him. Maybe for parts and stuff, but she don't need him probably intellect wise, but it may be a thing or two that he might know that she don't know or whatever. Because when you saw the things he said, he was like, hey, why are you using an arc reactor? And she's like, yeah, you don't have them just sitting around anywhere. So I have this I made right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, definitely could be Lucius, or you know what I'm saying. They could, yeah, that would be a pretty dope. A dope. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what if? And this could have been like, and we about to wrap this up, but like,
Yeah.
what if this was their original way to start off the Young Avengers and to have Ezekiel be like the Tony Stark benefactor of the whole outfit? Because he already has the money and resources.
Mm-hmm.
And all we needed to do was like basically have Iman Vellani, I'm sorry, Miss Marvel, bring the team together.
Yeah, I
So
can see
like
that.
that because I mean they was really they was trying to trying to make this thing like congeal in a way that it'll be like, but like now ain't there's no Young Avengers. They might have an Avengers team, or something could happen to where in like saying the
Secret
movie
Wars.
the Secret Wars or Doomsday,
Uh-huh.
where all the heroes is gone and the heroes that remain have to form. And this could be an easy way to have some of these
Yeah.
B and C heroes come together and to make a
West
team.
Coast Avengers and all that
Yeah,
stuff like
West
that.
Coast with
Yeah.
Young Avengers or whatever, like
Yeah.
because everybody can go to
Yeah.
Battle World. But nah, like I think yeah,
Yeah. I can see that happening.
that'd be dope. But yo, also last thing, shout out to
Yeah.
the music and the person who put the music in the show.
Yeah.
Very black.
Uh-huh.
Even black adjacent music, because black folks love some Alanis Morissette. So
Yeah. 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 especially black women. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
definitely singing You Ought to Know
Yeah,
in like
yeah.
93, too.
Quick,
Yeah.
quick little tidbit about a lot of that first album, what Jagged Little Pill or
Jagged Little
whatever.
Pill. Yeah, yeah.
You know who the man was that was stressing her out like this, right?
I forgot. Who was it?
Uncle Joey from Full House.
Yes.
I think his real name is like Couye, Tom Couye. Hey, the guy that played for those of y'all who of our generation who know the show Full House, Uncle Joey, Mister Cut It Out himself, was putting Alanis Morissette through it, and that whole album with her going through it was basically based about him. So
Yeah, he's an
yeah,
ass. But yeah, that was
yeah,
95. That was peak
yeah,
MTV for me. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That was came out basically during the summertime. We had the MTV Beach House,
Oh
all
man,
that good
yeah,
stuff. You know what I'm saying? The Tiki Hut, you know what I'm saying? The Tiki
yeah,
God, yo, like yo.
yeah.
As my
Uh,
man say on TikTok, y'all wasn't there. You know what I'm
I
saying?
wasn't there.
Y'all wasn't there.
Oh.
Anyway, but nah, like music was awesome. I love the
hmm
musical cues, even some of the old school music that they brought back.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody during the whole montage. I'm trying to get to the building. Crazy because
hmm
ain't nobody else could do it but Riri. So
hmm
yeah, her having to improvise and the team not like the whole thing. Shout out to them for that.
hmm
That's really all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got for this
Yeah, yeah,
tidbit.
because like I'm trying to think like yeah, the only thing like I said, the only thing I definitely feel you on the whole mysticism, technology, how they're gonna tie that in,
Yeah.
and for me, the whole aspect of the family and
Right.
emotion. If we can tie all those things together, then this would be a very solid series.
hmm
Lastly, I think that having all three episodes drop at the same time was a good idea for this show.
Yeah.
The thing that kind of hurt Miss Marvel was just the swings of the episodes because even though people love that show, thematically a lot of episodes were like very different episode to
hmm
episode.
hmm
Because like
hmm
you'll have episode 2, which I've totally forgotten, and then you
hmm
have episode 5, where essentially we have like
A couple
a
of flashbacks.
bootstrap time travel thing going on, which
hmm
was like really great.
Yeah.
So this definitely like I don't mind the 3 episode drop. It felt like they're trying to hide it.
Are they dropping the next 3 episodes, the final three next week?
Yep,
That's it. Okay.
that's it.
No.
And then after that, we got, Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's it for this one, man. We'll be back Monday?
Monday.
F1. We're gonna go see
Yes.
that.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
Damson Idris and Brad Pitt do on the Grand Prix.
Yeah. Real quick thing. I want to give a shout out to a few people. Get shout out to some friends of ours that are watching the show. Also, one of my coworkers. Shout out to my guy Tom Fitzgerald. He was like, "Hey man, I be catching your podcast." He says, "You and your guy know what the hell y'all talking about, man." He was like, "Y'all really know what the hell y'all talking about or whatever." So shout out to you,
Thanks, Tom.
Tom, for that and everything like that. Also, just shout out in general to everyone who supports us. Remember the website
Definitely
theuponfurtherreview.com for the low price of
10.
$10 a month. We're about to start kicking up some more content with stuff.
I am
And
currently scripting out the Interstellar video
right,
essay.
right,
It
you know,
is
we we
it's
could
been
put stuff up there too. Like I would like to. I haven't even told. I'm dropping this bomb on Rashad right now to do an episode about Spaceballs, considering
I
the
was gonna say
se-
that
the
too.
sequel because the sequel to Spaceballs is coming out. Is going to be coming out, and that is in probably one of my top 5 funniest movies of all time. Me and Rashad worked together at one point at a call center, and man, we probably almost got
We'll
fired
put
that
that
day.
in. We'll put that in the
Yeah,
episode.
we, we probably almost got fired that day for just doing Spaceball quotes or whatever, making each other laugh at this call center, man. So yeah, so
Shout out
that's
QVC.
QVC. Yeah, shout out. So that's some stuff we wanted to do. Just a little quick thing I just saw today before we go. They started shooting on season 3 of House of the Dragon. Started shooting
Yeah,
for season 3 House of the Dragon. As y'all know, that's probably our biggest baby.
that's our
What kind of
baby.
got us going with this and everything like that. So, as always, follow on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook if you're
Nasty.
nasty, and you know what else?
And
And
YouTube.
threads,
The
threads
threats
and
too.
you, threads and YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share, man. And until next time, yo.
Peace.